What's up, you guys? It's Levi here. Welcome to the Cybersecurity Education channel. We got another month, and you know what that means. We got another wave of ransomware to talk about. And today we'll be talking about the top 3 cases of ransomware in January of 2020. If you're new to this channel, each and every single month, I talk about the top 3 ransomware cases from the previous month. I talk about what happened, I talk about my thoughts on those ransomware cases, and most importantly, I talk about what you guys can learn from those ransomware cases so you guys and your organizations reduce your risk of getting hit with ransomware. And if you get hit with ransomware, you reduce the impact that it causes to you and your organizations. If you guys want to know more about what ransomware is, or you're like,
Levi, I'm not really sure what this ransomware stuff is that you're talking about.
well, you guys are in luck. I just recently did a video that talks about everything you guys need to know about ransomware. I'll put a card up above for you guys to check it out, and I'll post a link down in the description for you guys to look at that. Also, as always, if you guys have any comments on this material or any questions, feel free to leave a comment down below and I would be glad to answer those. Alright, so the first ransomware case rolling in is from the city of Las Vegas.
Viva Las Vegas!
Actually, maybe it should be pulling, or maybe it should be pressing a button, or maybe it should be smashing a button. You know, like smashing that like button, right? If only you guys won money from that, maybe eventually you guys will be able to. Alright, anyway, my source on this is from ZDNet, and I'll post a link down in the description if you guys want to learn more. Alright, so the incident took place January 7th at 4:30 in the morning, so early before all of you guys are awake. The good thing is the IT staff immediately found the incident right away, and they were able to kill it off and took steps to stop it. They took several services offline to keep the ransomware from spreading across their network. On January 8th, the city of Las Vegas issued a statement on Twitter that you can see here. Following yesterday's cyber compromise, we have resumed full operations with all data systems functioning as normal. Thanks to our software security systems and fast action by our IT staff, we were fortunate to avoid what had the potential to be a devastating situation. We do not believe any data was lost from our systems, and no personal data was taken. We are unclear as to who was responsible for the compromise, but we will continue to look for potential indications. And then the incident was believed to be caused by a phishing email, by an employee of the city opening up a phishing email, and boom, getting ransomware, and then it trying to spread across the city's network. So the city got extremely lucky in this situation. It's Las Vegas. There's a lot of luck there, right? Well, not for me. When I go to Las Vegas, I seem to lose a lot of money. But hey, the city seems to have a lot of luck. Or maybe they're not so lucky. Maybe they were doing things right. They had a strategic plan on how to protect themselves if a ransomware incident comes up. They had a monitoring solution to detect that. That just might be some of the things that they had to help protect themselves and avoid becoming like some of the other ransomware cases that we talked about on this channel, like New Orleans, like Baltimore, like Atlanta. It might have been a little bit of luck, but there might have been a lot of planning on their part previously to help protect themselves. You might not always completely be able to prevent your organization or yourselves from getting ransomware, but if you make the proper procedures and plans in place before you get ransomware, ransomware is going to be a lot less terrible for you and your organization. And the city of Las Vegas is a perfect example of what can happen if you have some preparation and you're doing things correctly in your organization. So I think this goes to show, if you have the power in your organization, make sure that you're pushing to your organization that you should get a monitoring solution in place if you don't have one already, and have some type of ransomware response plan in place that you guys have practiced to help limit the spread of ransomware when it happens to your organization. I think there's another point to be made from this case, is that phishing is still one of the top ways that organizations are getting hit with ransomware and terrible things. So it's essential that organizations train their employees on protecting themselves from falling for phishing emails. And then on an individual level, you want to be training yourselves too, like watching my cybersecurity education channel and channels like that, especially my monthly videos where I talk about the top 3 phishing emails each and every single month from the previous month. I highly advise that you guys check into that, because it's like a vaccination against the most current phishing emails that are coming out. The more of those videos that you're watching, the less likely you are to fall for those phishing scams and cause these terrible ransomware incidents for yourselves and for your organizations. I'll put a card up above if you guys want to check those out, and I'll post a link down in the description if you guys want to check into that. So the city of Las Vegas is the best case scenario that you guys can strive for if you or your organization gets ransomware, to be able to kill it off right away. You're not always going to be able to prevent ransomware, but you want to make it so that your life is as least miserable as possible if you get ransomware. Alright, so the next case of ransomware I'll be discussing, this organization didn't fare nearly as well as the city of Las Vegas. I can say that they probably fared the completely opposite direction. And this organization that was affected by ransomware was an organization known as TravelX. I had never personally heard of this organization before I found this. If you guys have heard of this, post a comment down below. I'd love to hear about it, because I haven't. Anyway, I took this information from various sources. I'll post links down below if you guys want to check those out. So anyway, TravelX, according to Investopedia.com, is the world's leading foreign exchange business. According to its website, the company exchanges currency for 40 million customers each year, about 5,000 every hour. It has more than 1,000 stores and 1,000 ATMs in 26 different countries. You probably know TravelX best as the kiosk you see in some larger airports, seaports, rail stations, and other tourist attractions. So yeah, TravelX is kind of
a big deal.
They're one of the world's largest foreign exchange agencies out there, so yeah, they're a really big deal. So what happened? Well, on December 31st of 2019, TravelX was hit with a cyber attack. The company had to take all of its systems offline after being hit with that cyber attack. As a result, customers could no longer use the TravelX services digitally. They couldn't use the website or the TravelX app, or make payments using the credit or debit cards that TravelX gives out. On January 3rd, Computer Weekly reported that TravelX was hit with ransomware and it infected their entire network. Not only that, the attackers stole 5 gigabytes worth of personal information such as social security numbers, date of births, credit card details, and etc. So not a good thing. Then the attackers deleted the backups and they demanded $3 million. And if not paid in 7 days, the attackers said that the data that they stole was going to be released out to the public. So fast forward to January 9th, Bleeping Computer reports that ransom was raised to $6 million, or it doubled. TravelX was stating that there was no evidence that any information was stolen. The hackers insisted that statement is not true. The hackers said if this were true, they would not bargain with us now. On the other hand, we do not care. we will still benefit if they do not pay. Just the damage to them will be more serious. So then on January 9th of 2020, 19 days later, SC Magazine reported that TravelX is still recovering from that ransomware. 19 days later, and they're still recovering. Since December 31st, affected TravelX locations have been processing stuff manually, while digital and online services were taken down to prevent the spread of the ransomware. Things are being restored slowly, and TravelX just wants to make sure that the integrity of the systems that they're restoring and the robustness of the network is going well. So that's why TravelX is bringing their systems up in a controlled manner and in a slow state. They want to make sure everything is okay and the ransomware doesn't reinfect those systems that they're bringing back up. All right, so fast forward to February 3rd, and BBC is still reporting TravelX is still recovering after the attack and still doing things by paper.
Holy crap.
That's a long period of time to still be down, right? Over a month and counting. I also forgot to bring up previously on January 19th, it was reported that the attackers got through and put the ransomware on the network through a Pulse VPN vulnerability that has been out since April of 2019. And there was a patch out for it not much later, so that's pretty bad, right? Obviously, TravelX never applied the patch, and they're paying for it dearly now. Alright, so then fast forward on to February 7th, the recording of this video. I tried to go out to the TravelX's website to do some more research on this situation, and I got this message on their website. I think all you guys really needed to see here is that we're sorry, but our online travel money service is not available right now. So, on February 7th of 2020, the site is still down. Their main website is still down. So, yeah, this is starting to get a really, really long time with their services being down electronically. So yeah, there are so many things to learn from this situation. I think the key point that you guys can take away from this situation is that you're updating your hardware and your software on a consistent basis, and you're keeping up with the news on all the various devices that you have in your organization. So when there's a major vulnerability that comes out, you guys can patch that right away. And you guys need to be on top of that right away, because if you aren't on top of that, you can get ransomware when somebody exploits that vulnerability. And TravelX, if they just would have patched that Pulse VPN vulnerability, they wouldn't be in the state they're in today, where they've been down over a month and still trying to recover. And who knows how much money they've spent trying to recover, if they paid the ransomware and whatnot. All because they just had to apply a simple little patch, right? Even on a personal level for you guys, make sure at home you're updating your routers, you're updating your computers, your phones, all the software on those when they prompt for it. Do it immediately, because you don't want to get hit with ransomware either. All right, so the next thing to learn from this situation is this is one of the first cases that an attacker has claimed to get data and is threatening to release it and make the organization pay so that they don't get sensitive data released out to the public. So not only is the organization having to pay to get their data back, but this brings up a whole new can of worms, because it's in the data breach territory now. Now the organization has to question, should I pay so this information doesn't get put out there and potentially give out trade secrets or be an embarrassment to our organization, or cause lawsuits because social security numbers and personal information of employees and customers is out there that could get them in really, really big trouble. So it'll be interesting to see as things go on. There's going to be more and more ransomware cases that are copying this. I've already seen a bunch that are doing this. The unfortunate thing is it puts organizations in a really tough spot, because obviously I preached on this video that you don't want to pay the ransom, because it encourages attackers to keep putting out more and more ransomware. Well, if a data has been breached, I feel like I'm in the same boat. You shouldn't pay to get that information from being released, because who says that the attacker's not going to release it anyway? The other thing is once they realize that you're going to pay the ransom, they could keep coming after you and making you pay a repeating ransom and getting you in that cycle of constantly paying so that information doesn't get released. You're better off investing that money in improving your security so that the issue doesn't happen again. I personally think that this ransom on personal data being stolen from machines is only going to go up on the rise. Organizations are going to start having to classify ransomware cases as data breaches and notifying the public or the people impacted that, hey, your data may be stolen. Finally, my final point is you can see from this situation how bad ransomware can be. I mean, this is one of the top currency exchange organizations in the world. As of this recording on February 7th of 2020, they are still pretty much down and they're having to use manual processes that they've been using for well over a month. The recovery costs, the downtime to customers, the inconvenience to customers, and the potential costs of paying the ransom are probably huge. If this organization wasn't this big, they probably wouldn't be able to survive this and they probably would have went under. Even then, they probably still lost a lot of money. So this is a good reason why you guys need to pay attention and take measures to protect you and your organizations now so that your organizations and yourself don't get in a situation like this. If you guys get ransomware, by preparing for that ransomware, you'll be more likely to be like the city of Las Vegas that barely had any issues and not TravelX. Alright, the last ransomware case that I'm going to talk about today is from Tillamook County in Oregon. I think that's how you say it. If not, and you're from that region or you've been there before, let me know down in the comments if I bombed the pronunciation. So, January 22nd of 2020, Tillamook County was hit with a ransomware that took down all of the internal computer systems that the counties had for 250 people that worked there. Their website was also down. Luckily, 911 and emergency services were up, so those weren't impacted. But the sheriff's office was having problems with their phones and email.
Oh no!
You mean if somebody gets pulled over on the side of the road, they can't phone back into the sheriff's office? That sounds like a terrible thing. Maybe that's a good way to get out of a ticket, right? Don't count on it. So the day after the attack, the county started working with forensic investigators. On January 27th, the county commissioners had a private meeting and unanimously voted to try to negotiate with the hackers to get a decryption key for the systems that were impacted. To keep functioning, the county had to use paper records because none of their systems were up and functioning to be able to do anything. On January 30th, a local news station, KION, reported that the computer systems were all still down. I forgot to mention I have multiple sources for this as well, so I'll post links down below in the description for you guys to check those out. So here's the image of what appears to be like a checkout terminal at one of the libraries in that county. You can see that the computer is out of service. No checking out books, so I guess the people aren't going to be able to get smart those days. You know what the worst part about that is they might have to go back to the manual card catalogs. I used to have to deal with those when I was a kid. They were such a pain in the butt. You had to sit there and go through the card to figure out where the book was at. Nowadays it's so much easier because you just type in the name of the book and you can find it that way without having to flip through this big card manual. So that's a bad thing about ransomware in this situation. Alright, so an official said that the malware didn't hit all the servers and backups, so it's not as bad as it could have been. But, I mean, it sure seems like it was pretty bad. All of their stuff appeared to be down. I don't know how it could have not been worse. Alright, so on February 3rd, the Tillamook Headlight Herald reported that work is being done to bring the computer systems back online. In some cases, the systems will be fully functional, and others will not be restored without further efforts. Some computers will have to be completely erased and be redone. Forensic investigation was still being done at this date. At this time, there appears to be no ransom demands. More information is going to be given at a later date. I was unable to find any further information as of the recording of this video on February 7th of 2020. So we'll see. So yeah, you can see this case is really, really bad. It appears that all the systems for that county are down right now, and they're having to do stuff by paper manually. And here we are 3 weeks later, and it still seems like everything is down. One thing I found really odd is I found it weird that there's a news article out there talking about how the county commissioners met and agreed to negotiate to pay a ransom. But then county officials seem to be neglecting the fact that there is a ransom. But all signs point to the fact that there is. If there wasn't a ransom, why would it take 3 weeks for the organization to bring back all of the systems? And even 3 weeks later, most of the systems are still down. So something's fishy here. I think the county is just trying to hold back that it's a ransom. Maybe the county is just trying to get all of the information before they release it out to the public and have everything good and secure. I don't know. It's kind of weird. It'd be interesting to see once the smoke clears if they actually paid the ransom or not, or if they recover from backups. They stated that they had good backups, so you would think maybe they're recovering from backups, but maybe they just gave in and decided to pay the ransom as well. I'm guessing a lot of the downtime right now is waiting for the forensic investigators to go through each and everything and then verifying that the machines that they are recovering are not getting the ransomware back and they're legit. So that's probably what a lot of the downtime is. All right, so what are some learning points that you guys can take from this situation? So I looked up this county, and according to Wikipedia, this county has 25,000 people. So it's not a very large county, right? And this brings up the fact that it doesn't matter how big you are, where you're at, what type of organization you are, you can be hit with ransomware if you're connected to the internet. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a lot of people in this organization that thought that, hey, we're a small county, we'll never get hit with ransomware. And then boom, they get hit with ransomware. Now they'll know, right? And unfortunately for these smaller counties, in these small cities and things like that, they don't think they're going to be hit, and then they get hit, and then crap hits the fan, and they're scrambling to recover from this stuff. So if you guys live in a small area, a remote area, you work for a small organization, just know that you guys need to be working with your organization and asking, what's our plan if we get attacked with ransomware? Because this is a perfect case that it can happen to you. The other thing to learn from this situation is ransomware can take things down for very, very long periods of time. And that's why it is essential that you're taking the measures that I talk about on these ransomware videos to help protect yourselves, such as having a 3-2-1 backup strategy, updating and patching your devices and your software, training your employees not to click on phishing emails and things like that, so that you don't have to go through this pain of having your systems down for a long period of time. So that's what I have for the top ransomware cases in January of 2020. Just remember that ransomware can happen to anyone, anywhere, of any size, at any place, anytime. And start taking the steps to protect yourselves and your organizations now, so that the risk is lower of getting ransomware, and if you or they get ransomware, the pain is a lot less. So I thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys have any questions, make sure to leave them down below and I'll get them answered for you. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Make sure you're smashing that like button, hitting the subscribe button, hitting that notification bell if you like this content, to get it promoted on the YouTube algorithm so more people like you can help protect themselves from these crappy ransomware incidents. I thank you guys so much for watching. Have a fantastic day.